Is one of the most important records in sports going to be broken this season? Is MLB becoming the new NBA? And one man is much happier and far richer than he was last week. We'll break it all down next. Welcome to Closers. I am James the Greek, and joining me, as always, Mr. 69. He woke up as sexy as hell as I did today. David Ardsma. Hey, what's up, buddy?
James the Greek, what is going on? How is the weather in New York? Because right down here in beautiful Arizona, it is 86 degrees, sunny, gorgeous. Went to a Diamondbacks game last night and they had the roof open. I think the first time I've ever been to Chase Field with the roof open.
It is colder than my ex-fiance here in New York.
Oh, that's pretty cold.
Yeah, it's cold as hell. They moved the Mets game to earlier today as a result of the cold over here.
Did they really?
Yeah, it was supposed to be 7 o'clock. They changed it to 4 o'clock. So you can imagine Citi Field is going to be packed. But, it's this time of year. It's, East Coast, and they should have put a dome on Citi Field. We said it when it was created.
Just for a couple weeks, you're fine. You get over it.
Yeah, but what about all those years that we're going to be in the World Series going forward?
Oh, yeah. We'll get ready for that.
Yeah. Well, before we talk about all the World Series stuff and everything else, blah, 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 let's talk about one of your former students, can you say? Vlad Guerrero is now $500 million richer. 14 years with the Toronto Blue Jays. What was your immediate thought?
Immediate thought is, God, they spent a lot more money than they should have.
Yeah.
That was my immediate thought. It's not that he's not worth it right now. That's not it. It's that they took way too long to figure this thing out. They absolutely botched this whole thing. They should have signed him when he was 18, should have signed him when he was in the minors to just some crazy deal, $100 million deal then. And we'd be looking at that deal going, oh my God, they got to steal Vladimir. Why'd you sign it? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But they didn't think ahead. They didn't try to negotiate ahead of time. But Vladimir Guerrero, there's a couple great thoughts here. Incredible job by Vladdy and his team. I do not like the idea that he told the team, he told media, he told everybody he's not going to negotiate at all throughout the year. I think that's absolute crap. You just straight lied. And then don't lie to the public. That's the only thing. These people are fans. That could have gotten really tricky if you lied and then it got out that you were negotiating, then you don't sign. That gets really tricky. Like, don't lie. Don't say I'm not going to negotiate. Like, just say, hey, like, you can have a whole bunch. We won't get into that, but there's a whole bunch of other language you can use to basically say, I don't want to. My goal is to not negotiate throughout the season, unless and then whatever, yada yada yada. The other thing, we're already hearing this rumors coming out, or not rumors, quotes coming out of Blue Jays camp, out of their team, as the players on the team that are already talking about how they want to be there long term now. That this is a game changer. Barrios has already said and already quoted, like, this is basically, I'm air quoting here, summarizing, this is a game changer and I want to be here now for the rest of my career because of this guy. That might be conjecture. That might be just saying something because, the media that kind of hyped it up that that people weren't going to sign there because of him not being signed. But at the end of the day, this is a game changer for the team, for the organization. Moving forward, everybody talking to the Blue Jays is going to know where they stand with their biggest, best players. Bo Bichette now is a monster hill that they have to tackle and figure out that deal. But for the future, for the next 14 years, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. will be wearing baby blue, Blue Jay blue, whatever you want to call it.
So you're 100% correct about a lot of things. Number one, they should have done this years ago. They lost about $200 million by not signing him earlier. That's just stupid on their part. But they got it done, and that's very important because we've seen that there have been a ton of major leaguers who have been reluctant to sign with the Toronto Blue Jays because nobody knew what they were going to be doing going forward. Now they have the ability to keep Bichette. They have the ability to possibly go out and get Kyle Tucker and say, hey, listen, we have a nucleus over here. Before they weren't able to do that. Everybody was sitting there wondering, what is Vlad going to do? So I like this deal on so many levels. One thing that really scares me, can he stay away from the buffet? Condition. Not that I should be. It's a lot of money, David.
Well, yeah, but that's something that they addressed very early on. I don't think that's going to be a problem moving forward. I think there's something that when I was there, it was very clear that these conversations were already having. Well, they were already having these conversations and to have them where a healthy weight is for him. And that's the thing. It's not going to be just a number. It's going to be something that him and the team decide, and that like his plan on the field continues with the weight, whatever it is. I don't really have a concern with it at the end of the day, as long as he hits the baseball.
You've been in that organization. As we mentioned, you used to be the minor league coordinator for pitching with the Toronto Blue Jays. So you know the inner workings of that organization. Are they the type of team that's going to go up to that $300 million threshold? Because that's what it's going to take to compete with the Yankees and the Red Sox year in, year out, if you're going to be in that division.
Talking about for Bo?
I'm just talking about the Toronto Blue Jays as a whole. Are they going to be one of the top 5 teams in payroll going forward?
From a payroll standpoint, yes.
Yes.
I'm like for Bo, interesting numbers there. I see them. There's no reason why they can't be. And that's the thing about it. There's no reason why they can't be. Their numbers, their financials are different than any other team in baseball. They have a market that is different than anyone else in baseball. If Rogers really wanted to sit there and back them, they think they can do it. They built basically revamped their whole stadium, Rogers Center, changed all of that. They built a whole new development center down in Dunedin, Florida. They've put the money into Vladimir Guerrero Jr. They went for Ohtani, went for Soto. They've made it extremely clear that they are putting money into this. Let's be smart with it too. And what they went out, they got Santander, the biggest power hitter on the market. They got him in the off season, depending on where you see Soto. Right. But Santander, pure numbers wise, was the biggest home run hitter on the free agent market, and they got him. And so they've put the money out there. If you really look at it and you go up and down this roster, the money has been on the table. They've been very clear about it. Obviously, Bo and Vladdy are internal guys, and they developed them. So now there's the contract side. But Santander, they went after. They did a great trade for Jimenez, Andres Jimenez, George Springer. I mean, they made a big deal with him beforehand. Alejandro Kirk, they got that figured out. And then you're looking at that. The rotation and Barrios, Gosman, Bassett, like they've gone out and spent the money when they've had to. Obviously, bringing in Max, we know how that worked out, but just even talking to him and bringing him in is right. A different type of monster. So they've had no problem going out there wanting to spend the money, spending it on their guys. They just haven't found that nucleus of players to win. And it's not because of lack of spending. It's not because of lack of trying with Ohtani and Soto. They've gone out there and tried. It's just something in that clubhouse, something like, and I think a lot has to do with a really good blockdown bullpen. They just don't have it. They haven't had it for years. So there's some issues there from a clubhouse standpoint that they got to figure out and a on-field play standpoint, but it's got nothing to do with the amount of money they've been out trying to spend.
All right. So he just set the market for first baseman. How is that going to change the entire league for first baseman? How does this affect a guy like Pete Alonso, future first baseman, now playing off this Vlad deal? Or is it just, okay, perfect time, 26 years old, young power hitter?
It's 26-year-old young power hitter. That's really, I mean, in all honesty, almost every other first baseman that hits a free agent market's 30, 32. And so that's the big difference. It is Alonso and him, like some numbers wise, actually play extremely well in Alonso's favor. It's just 26 and what was he, 32 when he signed the deal? Or whatever.
30, something like that, yeah.
Whatever it is. It's just amount of control, amount of years on it. And his upside is so high. And his downside's really not that down. And so it's just a matter, and he's a homegrown player. I mean, there's so many great things about this. it changes the market without a doubt. But I think they're also looking at this and seeing Ohtani on that far end of the market too, and saying, okay, he was in the 700 range. Reality is he might just be a DH. The Dodgers have said how valuable that contract is. There's no one selling tickets and merch like Ohtani. We get it. But at the end of the day, Ohtani's a DH.
Yeah.
Who can pitch and who will pitch, but that's not really what they paid for. They paid for that DH in marketing. And they go, okay, like we have a first baseman who might become a DH one day. I think we're okay with that as if he just produces the way Ohtani did, and he has the ability to be close to that. Obviously not the stolen base part of it,
Right.
but he has the ability to be able to hit the home runs without a doubt.
I find it interesting that a former Hall of Famer is now poorer than his son.
Good. That's the whole goal.
For the union, yeah, but I'm sitting there
for every
like,
single dad and kid. That's your entire goal. That is the goal. That is the purpose, is to like raise a son and put him in an opportunity to be able to kick your ass. That's the whole goal. If that's not happening, you're not doing a good enough job.
Can somebody talk to my parents about my inheritance then?
Well, it's not about inheritance. Who cares about inheritance?
I do.
Do it. Yeah, we're talking about Vlad Guerrero, right? Like at the end of the day, that's the whole point. Is like he raised the son that's kicking ass.
Yeah,
like outmake me. I want JD to outmake me.
Well, don't worry. As I've said many times, I'll be his agent. I will make sure that he makes more money than you. But anyway, really cool. But the good thing for Vlad Guerrero Jr. is he doesn't have to go out and buy his parents a house now. He doesn't have to buy his dad a car. They got money. They're good. So just spend it on himself now.
Yes, I think that's what he was always worried about.
Hey, listen, you know for a fact that a lot of young guys who get money, especially from the Dominican or those, they're sitting there, they're making generational money. They have to take, care of their parents, their cousins.
I don't think this has ever entered his mind.
No, not his mind. No, definitely. He's cool. He got no problems. All right, let's move on. The New York Mets, my favorite team, did something last week that pissed me off so much. And I don't know if
played baseball, lived, breathed. What'd they do?
No. You had Soto and Lindor in the back page of the New York Post saying, we need Sandy Alcantara. We need to trade for Sandy Alcantara, or Alcantara, whatever you want to call him. And I don't know why it really upset me, but it's the kind of garbage that they pull in the NFL and in the NBA, trying to make these super teams. If I'm Juan Soto or I'm Lindor, I'm looking to beat Alcantara, not bring him aboard. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't like the idea of you shouldn't be talking about it. You shouldn't be talking about it. They should not be talking to players. They should not be asking their opinions on trades and this. And I think as a player on a team, you need to shut the hell up. That is your competition. And there's 29 other or 20, I guess 28 other teams vying for his services. Maybe not in reality, but at the end of the day, there's 28 other teams he could go to, and 29th that he could stay on, and maybe you. Shut the hell up and just have great things to say about him. Obviously, we all know how good he is. We all want Sandy Alcantara to be pitching in every important game ever. And I think it's a perfect combination of Mets or Yankees. Like, it is the perfect timing. And this is exactly what standard Mets or standard Yankees, really, especially standard Yankees and Red Sox, like rivalry, like would have gone and gotten. Like, the fact that he's even still pitching in a Marlins uniform is surprising to me. Unless it's just a Marlins saying, no. To me, I'd be listening to everything as fast as I could and get a great deal right now before anybody else even goes out there. But, like, your conversation should be that you love your team. Your conversation should be that we've got a 5-man rotation right now that we love. Like, we have Clay Holmes, we have McGill, we have Canning, Peterson, Senga. Like, that's what we need for the playoffs. Would Sandy Alcantara help? Hell yeah.
Of course.
Absolutely. He's a stud. He's a Cy Young pitcher. Anybody would want him on the team. But as far as today and right now, our job is to go kick his ass.
Yeah.
But tomorrow, if he's on this team, he's going to helping us kick ass. But you know what? Like, that's the conversation you need to be having. Is it's us versus the world. And that's the difference between the Mets 2024 and Mets 2025. It kind of sounds like. It's like we're sitting there like, oh yeah, we need him. We want him. We need him. No, you don't. You got your 20, 25, 26 man in that roster right now in that clubhouse saying, dude, we got this. Now think about this. You're a starting pitcher for the Mets and your Lindor and Soto just sold you out. Basically
Yeah.
said, we need somebody else. We don't need you. I get it. The reality is, yes, they'd be really good. They don't need him though. They don't need him. And you're going to be getting other guys back and healthy, right? And so I don't like that idea that you're sitting there hoping on the outside that you bring somebody in to win baseball games because you need them so bad. You don't, man. Believe in your clubhouse. Believe in your other pitchers that you have right now. But at the same time, go out there and if we do get them, let's go. Like, I don't like the idea of you're out there fishing for the players, and it gets really shady when you start doing that.
Yeah, and if I was the commissioner, I would fine both of them because that is tampering. It's not officially tampering because it's not the front
Let's
office.
think about this. Is it really tampering? I've always had a problem with this. Is it actually tampering? Because what is the idea of tampering is that you're sitting out there and you're telling a team or like behind somebody's back, getting a player to agree to come to your team. Like if they're telling them right now, don't sign with anybody else, you have to sign with us. Like I still actually don't. How are you tampering when you have no idea? You have no control of the trade.
It's not tampering, but you're still talking about another team's property and wanting to bring him in. That's what really bugs me.
That's why I wonder though, like I've always wondered this, like when they do it in the when they do it in the NBA, because that's really where they've done it. And that's where they've hammered like LeBron or some other players for it, right? Yeah. In all reality, though, like how is that like if the GM goes out and says, we really want to go after this player.
Yeah.
There's no problem with that, right? If a player says, hey, we really should go after this player, how is that any different? Because you actually have no control of the trade. You can't make a trade. You can't follow through with the trade. The other player on the other team really has no control over the trade. I've never understood the whole tampering idea.
The problem that I have with it is all of a sudden it's on the back page. Now he's got it in his head that, oh, maybe the Mets are a possibility. Before he was just thinking about I'm talking about Sandy, pronouns, pal. Talking about Sandy Alcantara, before he was thinking about the Marlins and thinking that, okay, potentially I'm going to be moved this year. Now what they're doing is, oh, wait, the biggest guys on the Mets want me. So now I can play a little hardball with the Marlins and try to negotiate a trade to the Mets only. And what really scares me more than anything else is over the last few weeks, Rob Manfred has been talking about how when the collective bargaining agreement is up, the owners are really going to be pushing for that salary cap. And then what you're going to have is the same problem that the NBA has. Because all of a sudden, you're going to go to any team that gives you the max contract, and then a year later, you're going to say, oh, I don't want to be here anymore because X, Y, and Z, and force yourself out of a move because hey, I've got my money coming. I don't have to worry about that other team who doesn't have that money dealing with me. That's the big problem I have.
A couple things. One, Sandy Alcantara doesn't give a shit what the Mets say, what the Mets players say. They're probably his buddies. I get that. He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Does.
I guarantee you he doesn't. I guarantee you he's not sitting there thinking anything different than he did the day before. He's going out there pitching. It's already gone through his mind that every one of these teams are an option for him to go to. It doesn't matter what the players say. There's boys. They're on a group text probably saying, dude, let's go. Come on. Like, we'll say something to the media. We'll see. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to him. It does because the Dodgers are going to be making a play for him anyways. The Yankees are making a play for him. The Mets are going to be making a play for him. Everyone's going to be making a play for him. So it really doesn't matter to him. Like, oh, now the Mets are into it because of Lindor and Soto. No, they were into it anyways, and he already knew that, and they all knew it. And his agent's already been talking to him about it, and the team's already probably talking to him about it. So far past them. 2, no way in hell they're going to have a salary cap in baseball. Just a hard no. Just no. And so all those other scenarios after that aren't going to happen.
Okay.
They're not going to have a salary cap. That's the hard line negotiation. It's like, it's not going to happen. Like I've been in those meetings. I was part of the players. I was part of the committee. I was part of the negotiating committee. I've sat down with the owners negotiating a collective bargaining agreement. There is one that the Players Association will not ever bend. And that's it. That's the only line.
I feel the same way, but A lot of people are talking about it right now.
No,
Usually where there's
they can
smoke,
talk all
there's
they
fire.
want. Who controls the media? Who
Um,
controls the media? It's the teams. So the team, of course, there's a lot to talk about. Oh, shocker!
right.
Who at the end of the day gives them passes to get in or not? Like they have to talk about it. It's just like with politics. Like there's a certain side and a certain side, and like you have the talking points. They have their talking points to get access to the stadium every single day. You have to back the hand that feeds you a little bit. You
No,
don't have to like sit there and pet it every single day. But there's a line you're not going to say. You're not going to sit out there and say, "Yeah, like screw the Steinbrenners, they suck and they should never have anything in baseball." Well, they're not going to let you in the clubhouse eventually. They're just not going to. They don't have to.
Before we move on, have you seen Sandy Alcantara pitch so far this year yet?
I saw the first game, absolutely dominant.
He was amazing. You know, when I saw him pitch, all I could think about is how much better would he be if he called you and was part of Top Velocity Pro.
I don't know if I could get him much better. I'll be honest. Like sometimes the best that coach can do is to let him just be. And just sit there and mentally help him and that's something too I do at Top Velocity Pro. I can sit there with Sandy and mentally I'd lock him in for games, make sure he was in a good place consistently. Not saying he's not. I just wouldn't make sure it's there every single day, just like he is currently. But for everybody else who isn't Sandy Alcantara, come on out to Top Velocity Pro. Check it out, topvelocitypro.com. Check me out on all the socials. Hit me up. And I will make you the best thrower you ever possibly can be. I'll tell you a little story. I had a guy who was a junior in high school going into a senior year. That junior summer going into a senior year was 82. By the end of his senior year, we got him up to 94. And he got a scholarship to go play, or he got to go play JUCO ball. That was awesome. That's a step. And then he's absolutely dominant in JUCO, and now he's going to a 4-year college, going to be playing. And that was his dream. And so we helped make it happen. It was all on him, but I helped. I gave him the tools and confidence and the I showed him the road. He ran down it, but I can do that for you.
That's why you're Mr. 69. You make dreams come true.
Talking about dreams come true. Talk about this on the 6th, April 6th, 2003 was my major league, or 2004 was my major league debut. 21 years ago, my major league debut. I pitched 2 innings, gave up, I don't know, a couple of 3 hits and a walk, and ended up getting the win against the Astros, against the Killer Bees. The Astros lineup with a whole bunch of Hall of Famers in there. And then that same day, 21 years later, JD, my son, hits his first ever career home run, real legit out home run on the anniversary of my major league debut. Best part of it too, which is hilarious. My parents, when I hit my very first ever home run, I'd love to figure out the date if I ever could figure out my 1992 Little League, like Mission Viejo North Little League schedule. Very first pitch I ever saw, my dad said, "If you ever hit a home run, I will take you to Wrigley Field." Very first pitch I saw that season, hit a home run. My parents showed up just after it and missed. So they missed my first ever career home run. JD hits his first career home run, and my parents showed up right after it, and they missed their grandson's first ever home run.
But what did JD get? You got to go to Wrigley. What did JD get?
Nothing. We didn't. We had already made a bet for the Super Bowl. I'm not giving him anything else. Like now, you got expectations. Is now what he got.
Yeah, a little different for you. You know, you got to go to Wrigley Field. He got tickets to the Super Bowl a few years ago. Little rat bastard.
Yeah, I'll give him something, but at the same time, dude, it was a really cool moment.
Now, what I really liked about this is because you sent me a text the other day that your friend made in your fantasy league of some of your highlights. And what was really awesome is I actually got to see you step into the batter's box. I've never seen that.
You never saw it?
No, I never saw you actually in the batter's box. And I can say officially, JD has a much better swing. Believe me, Junior has nothing to worry about. Nobody's taking away his moniker of having the sweetest swing of all time, because yours was like swinging a rusty gate.
My junior junior year fall was the last time I ever had any like real at bats of high school. And then like even before that, I didn't even hit my sophomore year, never had a bat. Freshman year of high school I hit. So what's that, like 14? And then my junior fall, I had a couple of at bats, like a couple of just fall at bats, just mess around. I transferred high schools and not the same as my other high school. And then I transferred back, and David, you're not a hitter. I know. I'm like, I know. With the Giants and Cubs, I had some minor league at bats, or like at bats in games. I had a double once, but like that at bat was in 2015 for the Braves, and I think I had like, God, I don't remember what it was like. It was like 5 years before that was like my last at bat, and so
What
like
team
I
were
had
you
a
with?
what I was with the.
Were you with the Cubs?
No, it might have been 2008, so it might have been 7 years with the Red Sox. I think it was 7 years before that at bat was my last at bat.
Wait, with the Red Sox? How did that happen?
We were playing the Astros in Houston,
Oh,
so
they
it
were
was
playing
a
in Houston.
National League game, and I had an at bat, and I got my ticket punched, struck out, and then 7 years later was the next time I took a bat, let alone like taking batting practice or anything. I just didn't. I never believed in me taking batting practice. I'm like, I will, if you want me to practice bunting, I'll practice bunting every single day. I go, I am not going to swing a bat and just waste my time. I go, I got other things I got to work on. I got those strikes.
If you want to be the best pitcher, go to Top Velocity Pro. If you want to learn how to hit, do not look at David Ardsma's hitting career.
Well, let me say this: don't come to Top Velocity Pro and be coached by me. I got coaches that can coach hitting. I got Top Velocity Pro can coach hitting, just not. It won't be done by me, but I will coach you mindset.
Listen, when my nephew Georgie is ready to hit, he's going down to Orlando to learn from Uncle Ken.
I would highly agree with that statement. Go do that instead.
I might call Fred McGriff. Fred, tell me,
Freddie,
do you guarantee results? I guarantee. All right. Finally, last thing I want to talk about today on this beautiful Tuesday edition of Closers. This might be the year that one of the most hallowed records in all of baseball gets broken. Could Aaron Judge, your boy, your former teammate, compete with Bonds? He's usually a slow starter. Right now, he's past Bonds' pace from 2001. Now, we're talking very early in the season. However, we've seen Judge go off for a full season. Do you think there's a shot?
ooh, do I think there's a shot? The problem, it's awesome because he is ahead of Bonds right now, ahead of the pace. I don't think there's a shot. I don't think there's a shot. I think people have learned from the past and are not going to pitch. The problem is, I think Judge is going to be in a lot of really important games, and he doesn't have the ability to take 3 walks and see one pitch and hit it out. And that's where Bonds kind of made that difference. And I don't think he's on that level. I don't think he would be able to do it. But I'll say this, man, he's crushing the ball. How can I disagree with the pace? But again, it just, I don't think it's going to come the way Bonds did it, where it was like every day. I think it's going to be like in streaks with Judge.
Listen, we've seen him hit 60. And we're talking about another 13 home runs. It's not, an easy feat. But again, Judge usually starts off slow, and he hasn't started off slow so far this year. He's going to get into a groove at some point. I think he's going to be at the All-Star game. I think he'll probably be a couple of home runs off the pace.
So you want to know something crazy, right? June 19th. June 19th, 2001, against the Braves in Atlanta was the first time Barry hit multiple home runs in one day.
Yeah, and
that's the problem with this pace. Is yes, he's ahead now, but Barry picked up the pace as the season went on, and that pace got faster and faster and faster. And so that's my only thing. Like Barry had 11 in the month of basically in April. Okay, he had 11.
Mm-hmm.
And he only hit he had 17 in June. Like the pace picked up as the season went on. Oh my God, he only hit 6 in July.
That's what I'm saying. There's really
Ooh.
a possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's possible because the one thing you said, he didn't have multiple home run games talking about Bonds. Judge is able to do that. But my question to you is it easier to hit home runs if you're on a good team that's competing or on a bad team? Because as far as I'm concerned, if he was on the White Sox last year, nobody's pitching to him. He'll get 35 home runs. Now they
Well,
kind of have to face him because he's got some guys around him.
I got to look this up as we're talking about this. My one of my biggest problems is like Judge is going to see a lot more pitches than Bonds, right? He's going to see a lot more pitches. So last year, Aaron Judge, who absolutely crushed the ball, 58 home runs, right? God, he hit 58. Had 704 at bats. So no, 559, 704 plate appearances, 559 bats. Bonds had 476 at bats. So almost 100 less. I think at some points people are going to figure out and just stop pitching to him and force the other guys in this lineup. And that's when it's going to get really interesting. Is he going to be able to take 3 walks in a game and still continue that pace? I don't know if Judge has ever been able to do that the way Barry did. And Barry could take 3 walks and hit a home run. 3 walks, hit a home run. He had 170 some walks. 177 base on balls, 35 intentional base on balls. That's the thing. I don't know if Judge has been able to would be able to sit there and every single day get walked. I mean, he led the league with 133. Like, that's 40 more and whatever, 30 some intentional base on balls. Like, I don't know if he's able to do it, but God, I want to see it though. God, I want to see it. I want to see him being 60. I want to see him get into the mid 60s and have that sort of like going crazy. Oh,
I mean, if he's got 53 to end August, 55 to end August, he's got a shot. He's got a shot. Look,
absolutely.
We don't know how this is going to play out. We're going to keep that little graphic that we had earlier talking about the pace all season long because I think we're in the midst of something special. I really do believe that. I think Judge has the ability this year to do it. Now, as a Met fan, do I want to hear all the Yankee fans talking about Judge over and over? Not particularly, but I do happen to like Aaron Judge. I think he's a great player, and I think it'll be great for the game, more so just because everybody looks at the home run record as tainted. I'd like to see a clean home run record, but that's in the
Tyler Soderstrom. Soderstrom.
Tyler Soderstrom.
He's got the same amount of home runs and less at bats.
Yeah, but that's not gonna. But he's not gonna hit 70. We're talking about guys who have the ability to do it. Look, in 2001, in 1998, when Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa were going after, do you know how many guys at the All-Star break were past Roger Maris's pace? 5.
Yeah, I could imagine that.
Do you remember who they were, by the way?
98. So you're talking about probably Rafi.
Nope.
Palmeiro was not.
No, he was not past the pace. 2 of the guys you will never remember. If you do, you are a god of baseball useless knowledge like I am.
In 98.
Yeah, the year I was 98.
Was Piazza around there?
Nope.
Talking about that 98 year Barry?
Nope. I'll tell you real quick. It was McGwire, it was Sosa, it was Junior, but then you had Greg Vaughn and Jeremy Burnitz that were also on that pace.
Burnitz was a Met that year, right?
No, he was with Milwaukee.
Okay.
I'd like to say.
Or you would have remembered if it was a Met. So
no, he wouldn't have been. He was. I don't know. I want to say Milwaukee or Colorado, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Nope, not Colorado.
No, I'd like to say Milwaukee. That's the first thing that's sticking in my brain. And Greg Vaughn was with San Diego, if memory serves.
Yeah, I mean, I could see both those guys. I mean, again, those guys were maybe juiced.
You think?
Maybe right in that. I'm not saying, I don't know. They're ripe in that generation of like
Yeah.
Yeah, Milwaukee. Burnett's was Milwaukee. He ended up with 38. I mean,
Yeah,
he might not have. I mean, he never passed 38. He was always right in that 30 home run area.
I think he might have gotten injured later in the year because he was on that pace. He and Greg Vaughn were on the pace at one point. Anyway, we've gone way off topic with this. Bottom line is, I think Judge has a shot. You think it's a very outside chance. It'll be great for baseball. Can you imagine having Ohtani back pitching, hitting home runs, and then the polar opposite on the other side of the country doing a home run derby every day? It would be great for baseball. I'd love to see it. And then they'll screw it up by having a strike in a couple of years.
Exactly. That's exactly what's going to happen too. God, why do you say that sort of stuff?
Because it's going to happen. You don't have to be a prognosticator of prognosticators like me to remember that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right. Finally, last thing I want to discuss before we wrap it up, the unfortunate passing of Octavio Dotel, former Met, former Houston Astro, played with a lot of teams, a very, very good relief pitcher.
Major league record.
And was traded from the New York Mets for one of my favorite starting pitchers of all time, Mike Hampton. What memories do you have of Octavio Dotel?
Really with those Astros teams. Well, one, setting the record for relievers. For most teams played for.
Obviously more than you.
Way more than me. I was 8. He was like 14 or something like that. Incredible talent, incredible stuff. Never heard a bad thing. I mean, I never heard of. I've never talked to many people about him. Just his stuff spoke for himself.
Yep.
Never played with him, unfortunately. He was a part of one of the best bullpens in Major League history, in my opinion, with those Astros teams, with the 3-headed dragon in the back end, with when you had our board Billy Wagner, Brad Lidge, and him. It was absolutely insane in the back end of that bullpen. I think he was like 7th inning guy in there. Lidge was 8, and then Billy was 9.
All you need over there is Blake Snell, and that's the perfect pitching rotation.
Right. Well, yeah, you figure somebody to get him to the 7th, so you got to find a couple more guys. It was just incredible, incredible pitcher, incredible baseball player, and it's crazy. Club, like a ceiling fell.
Yeah.
What? It's nuts.
Well, we send our wishes to the family of Octavio Dotel, the former teammates of Octavio Dotel. Tough day for baseball, but hopefully we will move on and move forward. And with that being said, I'm James. He's David. We will talk to you in a couple more days.